Hi and welcome to your dynamic warm-up. So what we're going to do first is what you should be doing first before you are actively getting involved in anything like running, lifting, jumping, twisting, anything that you know that you're going to need your pelvic floor to really help you out. And that really does involve anything that causes an increased abdominal pressure. So when you're doing things, if you feel yourself holding your breath, tensing up, bearing down, this is where this warm-up is going to come in and help remind your brain what we really need your deep core and your pelvic floor to do. Also, if you are exercising and you're realizing that you are kind of pushing and bearing down and putting a lot of pressure through your abdomen, it might be time to back down a little bit, and that's okay. We just aren't really ready for that yet. But this warm-up should help you and should help reconnect your brain to what we're trying to get it to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to be doing a Kegel or a pelvic floor muscle contraction with a transverse abdominis muscle contraction, or the TRA. It's just one of the main muscles of your deep core, and it's really, really important for protecting your lower back. And it tends to go hand in hand with our pelvic floor contractions. These are really important if you have lower back pain, if you have hip pain, if you have constipation, if you leak when you run, lift, jump, or you're just afraid that you might. It's also really important if you're pregnant, so that we're maintaining where baby is, as well as not putting pressure down on baby to put pressure down on your abdominal contents and your organs. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be on our sides. Our hands are going to go right at the hip bone, right on the inside, because that's where that transverse abdominis lives. And what we're going to be doing is just some gentle breath work. So we're going to be taking really big breaths in, because when we breathe in, we take in all this oxygen, and our pelvic floor and everything should kind of go down and out. When we breathe out, everything should come back up and in. And that's what we're going to be focusing on, is when you do breathe out, can you get a gentle pelvic floor contraction? So I'm not asking you to squeeze as hard as you can, but between 50 and 75% gentle up and in. When you are Kegling and letting out the last bits of that breath and everything comes up and in, you should also feel that transverse abdominis kick in as well, and it will go up and in. If you're having a hard time, A, finding your pelvic floor, or B, really getting that transverse abdominis in as well, I want you to try a few cues. Either you can pretend like you're sucking on a really thick milkshake and trying to take it in through a straw. So at the very end of that, can you feel everything come up and in? You can also pretend like you're trying to pick up a blueberry with your vagina. Yes, I said it. A blueberry with your vagina. Or if those aren't working for you, try a breath sound. So it's at the very end of that, you should feel everything come up and in. So what we're going to do, we'll lay on our sides. You can do this on your back. You can do this in sitting. You can do this in standing. You can, really work on this in any position. But if you are really starting and are trying to find all those things and get them prepared for your workout, I do suggest that you start on your side. It's just a little bit easier to get the cueing and you get the feel of it right. So starting on our side. And our hands right here, after I get my hair out of the way, it's going to go right there on the inside of your bone. So we are looking for this muscle to come in nice and in and gentle. If you feel like you're doing this, that's wrong. We do not need all the rest of your abs participating. They're good for right now. It's nice and gentle, and it's a very little baby movement. So this is what it really looks like. What I'm looking for is your hand is going to come right here, and we're going to take a big deep breath in and let it all out. And at the very end of that, you should feel your fingers go down just a little bit, as you can feel the squeezing and tightening and possibly lifting up of your vagina. That's honestly as simple as it is. And I don't want you doing this for 18 minutes. It doesn't need to be that long. You can do this for 10 breaths. 10 to 30 breaths is really all that we're looking for. If you need more help, once again, pretend like you're sucking on that milkshake, and you should feel that engage. But if you feel all of this going in, so I don't think that was actually one of my best engagements. So if we go, and then you can feel here is tight, and then we're not overutilizing everything to where your chest is moving, but we are getting nice and tight here, as well as in the pelvic floor. Or you can try a breath sound, and we're moving in here. But once again, we're not trying to overutilize everything. If you feel like your chest is moving, or that most of the strength is coming from your upper abdominals or the surface abdominals, you're probably just doing a little bit too much, and I want you to try to back it down Really pair it with the breathing. That way when you are moving for the rest of your dynamic warm-up, when you're running and doing your exercises, that breathing once again cues your brain into using these deep core muscles. So take a big deep breath in, let it all out. And at the end, you're doing your pelvic floor squeeze, 50 to 75%, and you should feel the muscles underneath your hand right here also kicking in. And that is your first part of your dynamic warm-up. Please let me know if you have any questions.